speaking. Thank you, Peter. As Peter mentioned, our last speaker from the course is Dale Andras Martin, the CEO of Siemens Hungary. Regarding Dale, all he wants me to tell you is that he returned to Hungary 4 years ago. He enjoys gardening, and he's been working for Siemens for almost 23 years. So to give the speech, The Garden, please welcome to the stage Dale Andras Martin.
Good evening. I'm a gardener. I am a gardener who would like to tell you a true story about his garden, about my garden. A story which is true in more than one way. Looking at the old garden, which we wished to reinvigorate about 4 years ago, we had to decide which structures we would like to keep. The stairs in the garden and the neatly laid out stone pathways, and those tall trees which dominated with their proven authority. Structure. More light, more brightness, more sunshine was needed. So we removed mainly the dead lower branches. Most trees had to be cut higher. Some trees had to be taken out where they had grown too close to each other. Thus, the sun rays were able to reach more soil. Energy. The soil needed to be refreshed and added to. More than 100 tons of fertile soil had to be delivered and spread out. Some of it replacing building debris which had been in the garden, barely covered for decades. Resource. But before bringing in the soil, over a time span of more than a year, two things had to be decided, and the consequences had to be well considered. Support. We had to support the topsoil so it would not be washed down the sloped garden. We formed small terraces, setting long and strong wooden pegs closely to each other. And the second consideration was water, sophisticated irrigation, bringing essential water where and when needed. The previous system had not functioned, and in some parts of the garden, it had not even existed. So we had to design a new irrigation system. It had to be laid out and dug in. Nozzles for spraying, hoses for dripping, and some delivering small quantities of water to the differing needs of the various plants. Having done all of this, the soil compacted and finely raked, we were able to roll out the grass. The dark ivy, which had reigned there before, gave way to lush green grass. Nowadays, the lawn receives its daily dousing of fine water, and it is here where the birds pluck the worms in the morning. New flower beds and spaces were created. The sunnier ones we planted with vibrant roses, but also raspberries, tomatoes, and zucchini. Zucchini also because of their large yellow flowers, catching the warmth of the sunshine. After trial, error, and deliberation. We planted the places with more shade, now that the dark ivy had relinquished its influence, with cranberries and blueberries. And in one corner of the garden, we created something new. A little pond with goldfish. Goldfish now enjoying their third summer. Especially at night, this reminds of our time in Tokyo, from where we also brought the time-worn Japanese lantern, which had already illuminated our little fish pond there. Our garden is enjoyed by various neighbors and receives additional visitors. Birds bathe while a large frog jumps into the pond. This year, magpies built their nest high up in our tallest tree. And all these visitors are undisturbed by the neighbors' squirrels, which continue to enjoy the walnuts and hazelnuts in our garden. Maintaining by changing. A garden requires care and attention. Cutting the grass, weeding, pruning, tying skillfully raspberries, tomatoes to bamboo sticks, helping to carry the heavy produce, the result of nature's efforts and human attention. Such personal attention is joyful as it responds with nature within the rhythm of the seasons. And we have to be prepared to react in time to the expected and to the unexpected. And we have to be willing to change the change, to adapt, to initiate, and to improve. In closing, may I wish you joy and successful gardening in your garden. Past weekend, when my sons, our sons, saw the speech, they asked me, why don't you say what you really want to say? Leave something better behind. And they're right. So please, leave something better behind, something you can be proud of. Thank you, sons.